Thinking about starting a side hustle but aren't sure if you should do it? Well, I've tried all sorts of side hustles over the past 10 years, from starting adult cloth diaper businesses to website design agencies. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 things that I look for in a side hustle and how to evaluate if your idea is even worth giving a shot. So first off, I think we're at a point where building a business isn't just a nice thing to have anymore, but it's literally a financial necessity for many people. If you've been paying attention to the news at all, you already know that wages aren't keeping up with the cost of living. I don't see that changing anytime soon. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that baby boomers could be the last generation able to work only one job and live a middle-class lifestyle. I think we're transitioning into something different. We're transitioning into an economic time period where we are going to need to bring in money outside of one 9-to-5 job. Now, if you want to be able to do things like take a vacation or 2 throughout the year without putting the bill on a credit card, sending a kid to college without taking out student loans, or even buy a house, I just don't see how you can accomplish this if you're working a job making less than $75,000 a year. Even if you make $75K, it's gonna be hard to do that, frankly. I know when I was first started looking at side businesses, I started the business out of necessity myself. After paying my monthly, rent for a room, my car payment, cell phone, student loans, and food, there just wasn't any money left over. And let me know in the comments if this is a situation you can relate to too. But if you're able to make enough money right now and live comfortably without a side hustle, I think that's awesome, fantastic, congratulations, and you definitely don't need to watch this any further. But if you're feeling stuck in your job and you don't feel like there's any way to make more money, I truly believe starting a side hustle is your best option to make more money, assuming it meets a few specific criteria. Now, if you're not sure about whether or not to start a side business, here's the 3 basic criteria I use to give the idea a green light. First, I'm looking for a side hustle with low startup cost. I think you want to be able to take a crack at an idea without investing your entire life savings into something you're not even sure is going to work out. So as background on my situation, I took the so-called traditional route when starting a side hustle. I started a few different blogs before landing on a blog topic that now brings in around $20,000 a month in revenue. Blogs, of course, are one of the lowest cost businesses you can get started with. I went out, bought a domain from GoDaddy for about 15 bucks. I hired a web designer on Fiverr for another 500 and paid some cheap website hosting that cost me only about 25 bucks a month. In the early days, all in, I was able to test out a few different ideas and different online businesses for under $1,000 each time before landing on an idea that finally worked for me. But the cool thing is that even if none of my blogs ever worked out, in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't have been any worse off financially than when I started out. I didn't withdraw all the money out of my 401k to start something. I didn't max out all my credit cards to start a business like we hear so many stories glorified online about people doing that. Here's some low-cost business ideas I would take a look at. If you've got a computer, if you've got internet access, this is something you can do. Things like content writing, web design, video editing, these are all things that can work. You can get set up by starting one of these businesses by just setting up a Fiverr profile. That's about as cheap as you can get. Now, if you don't want to work on a computer, you could also start some type of service business, mow lawns, house cleaning, window washing, a moving company. Maybe you could fix garage doors. I've hired for that service before. What I love about service businesses is that you can get started with almost no money too. You offer a service that other people already need, and then you can complete the job yourself, ideally at first, then start marketing your services. See if you can find a few clients that are willing to pay you for the work. Things work out, you can start hiring out some of those jobs. Next, criteria number 2 that I look for now is I want you to look for a way to figure out whether or not there's a way to scale the business. There's got to be a path to grow the business further down the line, even if you're starting out small right away. For example, starting a car wash could be a really good idea. There are lots of other car washes out there. They're making money. They're a proven business model. But if you live in a town with only 300 people that live there, do you really think you'd be able to sell enough car washes to make a full-time business out of it? The odds are probably not. You aren't going to be able to reach enough customers in your town to make the business a full-time endeavor. Now, before you get started, evaluate whether or not this is a business you could even make a full-time living off of if things worked out as planned. One simple way to do this is just write down how many sales you'd need to make this side business worth your time. Using the car wash example again, if you want to gross $100,000 per year and you plan to clean a car for $20 a piece, you will need to sell 5,000 car washes annually to hit that number. That works out to about 1.36 cars washed every day, assuming you never took a day off. Is that something you could do on your own? Find out if your business idea is practical before moving ahead with it, and if you think you can generate enough sales. Finally, last thing, as someone who has done this before, I want you to take a look and see if you can find anyone else that's already making money on the idea that you've got. Fortunately, thanks to different websites like YouTube, like Google, you can go on and you can find hundreds, if not thousands, of different side hustles that people have done, and they will post the revenue they made off of it, the step-by-step process, how they got started. A lot of times you'll even learn how they got their first customers. Go through these different case studies that are published for free on all these different websites, and just find out if someone else has made money in the past. If they've been able to make money on it, you can probably go out there and make some money on it too. Whether you want to start a handyman repair business, a power washing business, you can find these case studies of other people, watched a ton of them, read a ton of them that have built these businesses, and they include their revenue numbers. So again, take advantage of Google. I've included a link below to a database that I use with more than 3,000 businesses that include revenue numbers for each one and how they market the business in the description below. This is another way I find business ideas now. So there you have it. If the side business is low cost to start, if it can be scaled, and if it's a proven business idea already that has made other people money already, I would say go for it. Don't overthink it. It's time to get off the fence and give it a shot. You've literally got nothing to lose and everything to gain by doing this. Even if your first few business ideas don't work out just like mine didn't, by following the process, you'll be able to quickly move on to your next idea until something clicks. Let me know what side business you're thinking about doing in the comments below. Bye-bye now.